Welcome to the Friends with Words podcast. Happy September, everybody. Jesus Christ, September already. This year's already over, man. Party on, dancing in September, and all that good shit. Never was a cloudy day. It was cloudy yesterday. I don't get that song at all. Anyway, let's get back on track. My very special guest on the pod today is Mr. Justin Hoff. We had a conversation earlier. We were talking about Screen Room app, bombing, starting out in comedy, and just political correctness and all sorts of good stuff. So without further ado, here's our conversation. Take a listen.
That's what I was saying. People are like, you got to make a move soon, and everyone pointed to, like, if stand-up's what you love, then you need to go to New York. If you want to be an actor, then you go to L.A. But I'm like, I'm already in Boston. You know, New York just seems like a more aggressive Boston. Like the same weather, except there's more people trying to do what I'm trying to do. At least in L.A., you're fighting people who were like, their agents were like, well, you're not getting any acting gigs, so be a stand-up comedian.
Exactly. In your meantime, just chill out and do this. Yeah. Because you've been in, how many years you been in it?
This would be my, I think 5.
5 years?
5 years, yeah.
That's about the time, though.
Yeah,
that's about
it seems long to me, though. I did take 2 years off in the middle because I knew I wanted to do this. So I worked my ass off and bought a house and got rental property and did all that. And then that's why I can do this full time. Yeah. That and all my T-shirts have holes in them. But
yeah, it's like I got to pay for this.
You can't look fly and be a struggling artist at the same time.
Living across, I mean, it's up by your house. Yeah, you're living near the school. I still don't approve of that move right there. Living across the street from that school.
It's a playground.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't scope it out as well as you did.
Yeah, I got up in there.
Nice.
I was making sure. Yeah, but no, it's good birth control because it'll be like 10 a.m. on a Saturday, and I'll get in for like really late from a gig, and then there'll just be kids screaming. You know what I mean? And mom's being like, Timothy, what is that dog shit? Put that down. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, all right.
Fuck that.
Whenever I start thinking I might want to have a kid.
Not going to do it.
Yeah, just listen to the playground and you're good to go.
But yeah, were you thinking of making a move next year, or you don't even know right now? You're just in the getting that process of...
It was supposed to be this year. It was actually supposed to be this month, September, that I would save up money, I would go to L.A., Bigelow was thinking about making a move too. We know
Brian Glowacki. Yeah. For those in the
so if you guys don't know Bigelow, Brian
exactly.
Glowacki. We did 7 shows in 10 days out there when we went. We made a lot of good connections or whatever. But they know us kind of like a unit. I know we want to go do our own things, but when we went out there, we were doing shows together. Except for a few, we split up. So I was thinking, oh man, if he goes out and I had some money and equity in my house, so I was like, we'll just go, we'll get a place. And but I started working on this web app, and I really don't know. Like, if I was going to go out there, then maybe I should go to San Francisco, because that's where all the connects are and all the engineers and developers and stuff. But I do want to see... At first, it just started out as this tiny little thing that I was going to use. Like, it was just going to be like a organizer for me so I can keep my dates straight. But it just blew up from there, and now we actually just got funded. Did I tell you that?
No. Yeah. What's the name of the app again, so people don't know? Green Room. Yeah. And so what's exactly? Yes, if you just break it down for everybody. What is it?
So it's like I was tired of the archaic system that they had, where you would, some bookers would text you, some bookers send messages on Facebook, email or whatever, and then you'll see or get like a voicemail. Like, I don't check my voicemails; it's usually text and stuff like that. But I would get a voicemail.
Someone sends you a voicemail?
People still leave voicemails, Well, it wasn't really. Now it's kind of changing. Like, you see a lot of dudes in Boston like the younger dudes starting their own rooms because they're not really happy with like the scene, which is great.
No, it's actually making it kind of better because now everything it's way more booked shows, so people kind of have to be like halfway legit.
Yeah.
And the networking is definitely better where people they're around, they see what you're doing.
There's always a place to go. There's like 3 places to go on Wednesdays.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like there's shows south of Boston, north of Boston. So I was just like, there's got to be a better way where people were getting at me at the same time, where I would send my avails out and I would get 2 messages back and be like, all right, well, who's going to pay me more money, or can I do both shows? You know what I mean? Yeah. And by the time you respond, they're like, oh, I had to give it to somebody else. And then sometimes you got to send your avails 2 or 3 times. And then just this past week, I got double booked
or something.
On a show. You know what I mean? Like, I drove 3 hours well, that's just I'm mad, so I'm exaggerating. But I drove I drove down to Connecticut, and the dude was just like, yeah, sorry, I just.
Oh, someone you didn't know personally is
I
just one of those things
double booked
where...
you. No, I work with him all the time, but that makes it even worse too if you're friends with the dude.
Yeah,
then
and
it's
just like...
they're like, sorry, do you want to hang out? Like, I'll grab you a beer, and it's like, well, you know, this isn't a hobby for me.
Yeah, you gotta get
I
paid,
have to
yeah.
pay my mortgage, so, you know, and then getting paid, that was a whole thing. So, so to get back on track, it's it mixes content with industry tools. So it's a place where comedians can have their merch, their media. You basically get a complete website hosted on greenroom.lol, and from there, there's a scheduling tool where you get offers from people. So a venue would be like, hey, can you work Friday? You'll get a little notification. If you accept it, so all the terms are there, the money, all that stuff.
And it's all like locked into your calendar. So
Yeah.
once you accept it,
Once you
goes
accept
in
it,
there.
it gets added to the venue's calendar. It gets added to your calendar. So you don't have to go onto your website and update your calendar. It's automatically there. Like fans can sign on and like in real time see where you're going to be at. And then one of the coolest features is if you're booked, it's going to notify you. So if you try to double book something, or the venues also have a tool where it only pulls from the calendars of people who are open.
Yeah.
So like, let's say somebody cancels on the last minute, and they're like, "Shit, I got to get someone for tomorrow."
Oh yeah, so it's kind of like an Airbnb thing where it's
Yeah,
like,
so-
oh yeah, what dates can you do?
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
block it
So
off,
the search is like
so
the
they're going to
search-
be suing you pretty quickly. is
Yeah,
what I'm
oh,
saying.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That means you're working hard though. That means you think of something.
Yeah, well,
that people need.
I was telling my family, I was like, you know, I finally I'm going to create my own job so I can't get fired. And they're like, yeah, you can't get fired, but you can get sued.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
That's a
like,
job
yeah.
in itself though. That sounds
Yeah.
like fun. No man, it's a good app. And so also the I guess like also the owners, they can organize instead of just having everything written out on whoever they do it. They can have, I guess, a whole CRM of just all these comics and how much I want to pay them, and they can check how much they've paid.
CRM is a client database.
Yes,
if
it
you
is.
guys don't know. Yeah, you got to.
I went to college too, Justin. By the way, so
Well, I'm just letting everybody know. I didn't know CRM until I worked at.
it's actually customer resource management.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is.
So is it a database of clients, or?
That's what it means, but that's
Yeah.
what it stands for. Yeah, that's also called an acronym.
Oh,
So,
Jesus!
yeah, man.
I didn't want to learn. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have done this podcast if
No.
I didn't know.
I didn't have to study for this shit, man.
Yeah.
You feel pretty
This is like
fucking stupid.
homework. But you can get paid through the app too,
Nice.
and you'll get a reminder if you don't get paid through our app. So like people will probably still pay you under the table, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you don't, after 2 weeks, the app will remind you and be like, "Yo, did you ever get paid for the show?" So like, I know there's people out there that owe me money that I never said anything, and
Yeah.
you know, just because life happens, you're trying to book more gigs and you forget, like, hey, did I ever get paid for this one? So it's just gonna organize things, bring everything into the 21st century, and not, doing deals on napkins with people.
Yeah. Well, me personally, I don't want Uncle Sam seeing a paper trail of any of this, so I will keep the app in mind, but I tell them, just pay me in cash.
Yeah,
Just say
yeah.
Justin Hoff sent you.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
It's starting out. It's mainly a scheduling tool, and then also a way for people to find out about your shows. Like we mentioned, there's shows north of Boston, south of Boston now. But if you search Boston shows, only the companies that are good at SEO are going to show up. So you'll get a Google result with like maybe the top 3, but there might be an awesome show in Cambridge that you don't know about. So what the app does is it allows fans to go on, put in their zip code or radius that they're willing to travel, 15 miles or whatever, and then they'll actually get a geo-mapped graph of shows. So you look at a map and it will show you everything that's going around. And that feature's free for anyone who has a comedy show.
There you go,
to
man.
upload and do that. So yeah, man, it's pretty powerful. It started out as a simple scheduling tool for myself, and then my friend was like, my partner in this was like, if I'm gonna develop this for you, then we're gonna have to turn it into a business because it's taking up like
Way too much
40
time.
hours a
man.
week for him. Yeah, to do all this.
Yeah,
so,
man.
well,
What about-
hopefully we're trying to launch by November, and we're giving free download codes to everybody in Boston, and we're gonna beta test it here first, and if it goes well, then we're gonna go national
Nice, man.
after that.
Best of luck, man. You come a
Thanks.
long way, man. I don't care what everybody says about you, man. You
They
are.
can keep saying it. That's fine. As long as they put their information up there and give me content for the website, then I'm
There you
good.
go, man.
Yeah, and then we'll roll with the mobile app after that. We just didn't want to.
Throw too much at people at once.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to like alienate people who have certain devices. Like, it was going to come out on iOS and then not be compliant with Android. So now everybody can just go online. It's web based. You can sell tickets through the app. You do everything. So,
Nice, huh? But yeah, long time. So yeah, the past 5 years, I like to ask a lot of comics too. Like, your first time like on stage, was it a positive one or a negative experience?
Yeah, I think it was a positive experience just because I made myself so sick over it. So like once it was done, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Where'd you do it at? Like the first time?
I did it at the Vault, which doesn't exist anymore, which is too bad. But Dick Doherty's Comedy Vault, or the Beantown Comedy Vault, they called it, I think. And that was about 5 years ago. And like I said, I did it for about a year, and then I took 2 years off to save up money so that I could come back. So I came back hitting it hard like 2 years ago, I think. And that's when I really started writing. And
what thing did you think would be, I guess, I don't know you personally, because I've noticed that a lot of people like the comics, they get into it, and then they kind of pivot into something else. Are you trying to just make it stand-up? Are you trying to be like an actor? Are you trying to be like a host? Because I know, and a lot of it kind of comes at you, you kind of just roll with it, and you just ride this wave, but did you ever think about like, okay, I'm going to start here and then hop into this? Cause
I guess that's where I'm at right now. That's why I was confused whether or not I should actually go to LA, because it started out as I wanted to be a comedic actor. I never really wanted to do stand-up, and then it was always my dad's dream to do stand-up, and he never got to do it, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it like as an homage to him. Then I ended up falling in love with it, and now it just, to me right now, stand-up is the only true form of real critical art that's out there. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, not to get too preachy, but I feel like we're losing it. I feel like they're censoring everybody at like an alarming rate, and
just the whole the PC police generation.
It's getting harder and harder to get.
It's a mix of both, though. When you think about it, it's like they're pretty present, but I think like stand-up is kind of in like this golden age right now where it's extremely accessible. Yeah, like everyone can get to it, whereas back in the day, you kind of just had to, try and do some stand-up and hopefully get on TV with like SNL or something like that, and then you become even bigger. But nowadays, you can kind of just put out your own stuff, like apps, even what we're doing right now. I mean, people can kind of just podcast, like people can just kind of blow up in their own kind of way, and either way, they can censor you, but not too much.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't think people realize that we're the ones that are on their side. Like political correctness, the whole reason that term came about was because you want everyone to like you as a politician, so you don't want to say anything that might offend a certain group so that you can get votes. What I think people are losing in the PC movement is that they're getting away from the truth. It's like, we don't care what you say as long as it doesn't offend anyone, where comedians are just like, I don't care if it offends anyone, I want to talk about what's really going on.
And if anything, also, that's also a very liberal thing too. It's not a Republican thing, it's a very liberal kind of thing, which most comedians pretty much are, but I think people get lost in the fact of when you come to a comedy show, just coming into a room like that, you're supposed to understand everything is in the context of a joke. Yeah. And people, I think, kind of totally forget that. Like, I remember one of the worst things I saw, we were doing, it was at Comics, and Brian Bowden was on stage, and he was finishing up the contest. He was gone for like another 10, 15 minutes, and he was doing some bit about how your dogs are dead, and your dogs are going to die, or something like that. And I don't know what, it was just a long kind of ranting bit about how your dogs are just going to die or something like that. And a couple in the front tried to go, this is at the end of the show, the couple tried to go to the ticket booth at the end, and they wanted their money back. They were like, I didn't like this, I have a dog, and this is not funny. I have a dog, and this is not funny to me.
It's going to die someday, and I was going to pretend like it wasn't.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like going to a movie, watching the whole movie, and being like, nah, I didn't like the ending. Let me get my $15 back.
I mean, sometimes when you're poor, you got to do that, though.
Yeah, but they were well. Yeah, it wasn't one of those money things. It was one of those things that was like, this offends me, therefore I want my money back for everything I just witnessed. And it's just, that's just one of those things where people, like, you're supposed to come in here and realize, like, something might be kind of fucked up what they're saying, but they're not saying it in a way to hurt you. You know, it's not a deliberate, it's not doing it on purpose. Yeah. It's not meant to be literal. It's like, it's comedy. We don't come up here and just, well, I'm going to say a bunch of truthful things when I get on stage. It's like, no, it's like, it's all in the context of a joke. It's a story. It's not, all this shit's all fabricated.
You know what? If people knew how bad it felt when you tell a joke and people don't laugh, then they would know that we want you to laugh. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like this, I don't want you to have a bad time. I'm not trying to offend you. I think it's, and then people get caught up with this feeling that, you know, I'm offended, so then he's a bad comic or she's a bad comic. Yeah. And it's more like I love South Park. I love how like every single episode there's some kind of
well, it's so clever now. It was crude at first, but now it's extremely clever.
There's social commentary and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? But I have like I get kind of puffed up when anybody talks about autism or Asperger's or any of those topics, just because I have a family member that I take care of, and I shouldn't say that he's pretty independent, but
you can relate to it. You understand. Yeah. You understand what people are going through. And I know.
And some of the shit they were saying on the South Park episode was just like, it was just so ignorant. I was like, oh my god, they're saying like it didn't exist and that it was all, you know what I mean? But then I'm thinking to myself, well, they're also counting on people to be smart enough to know the you know what I mean? Not just go, I heard it on South Park, so it must be true. Yeah. So at first I was like, man, fuck those guys. But then I was like, oh, okay. There's other episodes where like Christopher Reeves was drinking fetuses and stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that bothers some people. So I had to kind of check myself and go, okay, I'm not going to swear off of South Park because they made one episode that offended me. Because you have to be intelligent enough to do your own research and stuff like that. And like,
it's a mix of both, yeah. But it's one of those things where you have to. They want you to see it. You're watching a show where, was it Saddam Hussein has sex with the devil in hell? It's just like we're not. we're saying something true, but it's like we're not being literal in any way possible. And so, but yeah, people have. I was talking about this before with somebody. It's like people can't see two sides of a coin of everything. You know?
Yeah. There's no empathy anymore.
Yeah. There's no middle ground. But whether it's just how you feel about a person or I guess like politics. It's like you're either this or you're that.
Yeah.
People have no middle ground anymore. Where if you say one thing, like the whole the Ellen meme, where Usain Bolt was winning and everyone's just like, she's a racist, and it's like that couldn't be further from the truth. But people just see, oh, that could be interpreted as racist.
Yeah.
So therefore, she is a racist. Everything she ever did, just fuck it. She hates black people, and that's how people take things. Like,
dude, it's hard to sign on the internet just because of the noise of how loud, like, people patting themselves on the back. You know what I mean? Like, it's deafening, and that's what it is. I don't think people are truly offended sometimes. I think they're just like, yo, let me get on this because I can check someone's privilege, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can take somebody down real quick.
Yeah, I can take someone down a notch. Instead of actually contributing or creating anything, it's a lot easier just to sit back and shit on other people.
Be a keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
Just fucking kill, like, I got you. You used to be, you're famous or whatever.
You know what term I heard where I was like, and I definitely want to write something about it, but it was, someone told me to check my privilege, and I started racking my mind being like, what can I, like, what did I do?
Your white privilege? Privilege?
Well, here's the thing. I thought it was white privilege, and then I was like, oh, damn, what did I do? You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to be that ignorant white dude. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, maybe I did something. Was it the way I opened the door? You know what I mean? I'm like trying to think, what did I do wrong? But they were talking about thin privilege.
Yeah. Oh, it was an overweight person?
Yeah, it was an overweight, you know what I mean? And I don't know what it's like living in this world. And I want to be like, bitch, I'm like 5 feet tall. You think things are easy for me? Like,
yeah, that's if there's a difference, because that makes no sense, because thin privilege is being healthy. You can change yourself. And like, you can't change being white. If you're overweight, you can change that. There's a way to do it, and so
thank you. Someone's acknowledging that.
That one doesn't count.
I can't change my whiteness.
Yeah, you can't change.
You know how bad I want to.
Oh, I know you do. I've known you for quite some time. I thought you were gay the first time I met you, actually.
Yeah, that happens a bit.
Because like when we met you at, I think I met you at the Burn once, and you used to rock the fucking, the leather jacket with the big bullhorn hoop thing in your nose, the piercing.
Make no mistake, that piercing was gay as fuck.
Yeah, it was like a really gay. Yeah,
piercing you can get besides probably one on your.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, you guys are kind of gay. And then you went on stage and you started saying a bunch of straight shit, and I was like, oh, I guess he's not gay. So, but no, it's just one of those things where you can't. Yeah, there's no such thing as, I don't think thin privilege exists, because that's something you can change about. You choose to be unhealthy.
So, but then I watched this video and it blew my mind about, they're saying that they get rejected from some doctors because even if there is a medical condition, they kind of write them off, being like, oh, they're not going to change and stuff like that. But like, there's no accountability. You know what I mean? Like, no one's taking accountability for. Everything's somebody else's fault all the time.
Yeah, it's never no one else's. It's not their own fault.
Like, I don't go into hotel rooms demanding that they move shelves and stuff so I can read shit. Like, I just figure out. I just get up on a chair.
I bring my soapbox. Yeah, obviously, and I just adjust.
And I just get it done. So like, saying that I don't know. We should put special seats on planes for people who are
Or
bigger.
who should they
and
buy
stuff
2
like-
seats or
yeah.
something like that?
You know, I shouldn't have to buy 2 seats because I'm big, and it's just like, okay, well, you don't fit in these.
Well, it's a safety
ones.
concern. It's like you don't fit in the chair. I mean, that's a whole other thing. But no, I'd never heard of there being a. What was it? What do you call it? Like, they should check your. What did you do? You don't even know what you did to them, do you? You can't even think of.
No, I don't.
Was it something you said on stage and they came?
No, you know what? Well, I do the whole big girls bit.
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
which is. I mean,
Appreciative, actually.
I like thick girls. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. It's a very complimenting.
Yeah. Like I really like. I don't. And it's just a personal preference. If you like skinny girls, that's fine. But I don't like girls to have like little like,
frames.
Little,
yeah.
well, they look too young. Like they look like little girls. Like
Yeah.
I want a like girl who has curves on her or whatever.
Justin wants a woman.
Yeah, I want a woman. I want a woman.
Childbearing hips.
That's right.
Mm.
I mean, I should probably be the last person talking about. I haven't gone to the gym in like 6 years, but whatever. I like what I like, and I talked about it on stage or whatever. And I think
An overweight black person was not a fan.
You know what? They were white.
They're white.
Yeah, that's why.
That's even more confusing. Like, what the fuck
Yeah,
do
I
you
was
want
like,
me to
check
do?
my privilege. But no, but that's the thing too, is because now you get I get guys like me. I get other white guys who are just like, you know, you got to watch your microaggressions and shit like that. And it's like, oh man. And I think it's very like you have to be pretty self-centered to speak for any group of people.
Yeah, that is.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I don't speak for. Let me just make myself clear. I'm not the representative for like short, white, straight, middle, like American.
Well,
like,
that's why I had you on the
middle class.
podcast. That's really the only reason. I
Just
couldn't.
to represent them.
I had to find.
All right, someone's gonna do it.
Yeah, you can. I'll pass the torch to you. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's always. But and the thing is, I think with the internet, it's made it way too easy to share your opinion. Because like back in the day when Facebook started, you used to have to at least have gone to college. Like there was a level, there was a bar. There was at least a little certain amount of intelligence you had to have. Where
Yeah,
now
half the people that are talking about these issues and jumping on the bandwagon, and it's popular now to get onto this PC bandwagon. So it is the educated people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is.
I just meant it got reinforced. Where the fact that now it's like
yeah.
everybody has like now that I can say something, I should say something because I have the ability. Where back then, if you weren't important, I guess, or whatever, you didn't really have an opinion. Where now everyone has something to say, so everyone kind of their power is being abused.
You know what I hate is open letters. I hate open letters. They're the worst fucking thing. An open letter to who, and it's just like because that person doesn't give a fuck. So
No,
like
no,
you know
no.
what I mean? They don't care about you, so you're gonna write an open letter so that other people can read it. It's just one of the most like whatever happened to taking someone aside and being like, hey, you're kind of acting like a douchebag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Having a little respect for them and just being like, you know, you're kind of a dick. Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah. You don't know this.
Yeah, so why don't you chill a little bit, and then they'll be like, oh, all right, you know what I mean? Instead of putting them on blast and getting on the internet and being like, this person did this.
Well,
or,
that's the thing with the internet. It's convenience. It's like more people should really do this. It's just do what we're doing right now and just have conversations with people. But people feel it's easier to be like, let me just pull out this computer in my pocket and just shit on whoever because it's easier. But what more people really should do is have a conversation. Like,
I love spending time with people who have differences of opinion because a lot of times I end up changing my mind, and I don't know if that's like, I don't know if I'm like overly, if I'm like easily influenced or if it's just that I'm like, all right, I can kind of see
it's
where
healthy.
this person's coming from, you know?
It's healthy to hear other people's opinions. Like what's called right now is I know you're not really big into sports, but you know like the big controversy right now. There's a big the 49ers quarterback, he's half black, and at the preseason game he refused to stand for the national anthem.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of like the big thing now. But
did you ever have to read Nothing But the Truth by Avi in school?
Who?
About the kid who wanted to say the Pledge of Allegiance in class.
That name sounds familiar. Was it just like what was?
It's a documentary novel. So this dude Avi made up a story about a student who was saying the national anthem, but like was being loud and disrupting the class. So the teacher sent him out of the class or whatever.
Oh, he was singing it in an obnoxious kind of way.
Yeah, and then it was like then he really like rallied and got behind it and was like people were just like, no, you have a right, you know, this is your right, and it became this big thing, so much so that he had to spoiler alert for anyone who's going to go back and read this 5th grade book, but But then he actually has to leave and go to another school, and they're just like, they're all cheering him on, like, oh, you're such a patriot or whatever. And then at the end of the book, the teacher goes, hey, why don't you lead us in the national? And he's like, I don't even know the words. Like, you know what I mean?
Bitch, I don't even know what you're talking about.
But it was funny because, like, that's what I think this is. Like, dude probably, like, fell asleep and then was like, oh, shit, I got to run with this.
Like, oh, damn, I've been fucking around. It's kind of like what Donald Trump's doing. It's like, I was just fucking around. Like, wait, I'm winning?
But now I got to rally behind this cause.
Ugh.
They're like, what does it mean? And they put so much behind it. Like, oh, you were sitting. It's like, it really... It shouldn't have been that big a deal, but then I guess I heard him talk on a press conference or just being interviewed by people afterwards, and he was saying that he is doing it for a reason. And then that's great.
Yeah.
All the power to him. I don't care if he sits or stands.
Yeah, it's one of those things, but the thing is that people try and make it a thing where it's like, oh, you gotta support the troops, and it's like, he said it himself, like, he supports the troops, he's just, I don't support this what's going on in America. And the thing is, what he did was probably the most American thing, where it's like, they fought so you can have a choice to say what you want to say, where there's so many countries where you can't talk bad about people who run the country, who runs the government. It's like, he was pretty much exercising what they were fighting for. But people get caught up in the fact where it's like, they're kind of brainwashed, like, all the troops are good. And it's like, they're not all good. They're not all heroes. I mean, but
that's one of the things they said on, have you seen BoJack Horseman?
That show's amazing.
Yeah, where it's just like, oh, okay, nope, never mind. Every single person is a hero and stuff like that. And, you know, people, when people are losing their lives for anything, obviously it's going to be a sensitive subject. But I hate the fact that you have to be, like, if you're anti-war, then you're anti the troops.
Soldier,
and it's like
if you're anti-war, if anything, you don't want the troops to go there anyway.
Send them in the first place. Like, I'm the one trying to keep them alive. You know what I mean? I do also understand that, you know, it might be a like a necessity, but it's weird the countries that we choose to invade and stuff, where there's like atrocities going on all over the place, and you know, it just seems like it's very cherry picked.
Justin, those shitty countries don't have oil.
Yeah,
I think we know the real reason.
Well, I think what you're gonna see now in a lot of some of these countries that are adjacent to the ones that we invaded is that they have they're connected to fresh water sources, and I think that's gonna be the next best
that is
thing.
kind of a big topic.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, when aliens find this podcast in the future, they'll be like, oh, that little dude was right. It was all about water in the end.
That motherfucker knew.
Yeah, he knew the whole time.
But yeah, no. But it also, I think it's part of people getting upset about it too, is like people just think in absolutes. Yeah. It's just like all the way, like all athletes are role models. It's like, no, they're actually not. They can just, you know, they're good at shooting a basketball. That's about. Can they become a role model? Yes, they definitely can. But it's good for business because all the owners want them to be a role model citizen because they want their kids to come to the game and buy tickets and buy this Bud Light. And that's really what it is. It's like they're not.
It's
really.
So hypocritical, though. The kids' parents wouldn't act in that sort of way. You know what I mean? It's like the moment we find out that someone's human, Michael Phelps was smoking pot, and they're like, like it's a performance-enhancing drug.
Yeah,
it's just like he's still gonna win all the medals, and he's fucking up his lungs, and you guys still can't swim as fast as him.
Yeah. Well, if anything that's a proof that weed's going to be legal in the next 5 years. That's all that really is. It's just like, it's not that bad. Surprise, surprise, our government lied to us. Like, really? Like, they wouldn't lie to us. But that's what some people
one dude came in a room and he's like, I found this plant, and not only can we make oil and plastics and rope and fuel out of it and everything, it grows like crazy for free.
And you can get high as shit, dude.
And it cures all illnesses.
And you can't overdose on it.
Safe as fuck.
Safe as fuck, dude. Nah, we can't have that.
Shoot that dude.
But pretty much it's because country, they can't make money off. And that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to figure out a way where, how can Uncle Sam get a cut? But it's one of those things where it's like it's a plant. Like, it's too easy to reproduce.
People die from poison ivy all the time, but I can grow that in my backyard if I want.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
You know,
we can smoke it after this. Why not? Smoke some poison ivy.
No, you got me all excited. I thought you were talking about weed. I was like, oh shit.
What? Look at that new shit.
It's funny though. Like was in the 40s. There was some article about how it was the next. It was called $1 Billion Crop was the name of the article, and it was talking about cannabis. And they actually have to change the name in the views of Americans, because everybody knew cannabis and was like, there's a point where you could pay your taxes in hemp back in the day.
Oh yeah,
if you didn't have enough money, you could get. But then they were like, all right, well, you need licenses to grow it because it was competing with the paper and the lumber industry. And then the big pharmaceutical companies, when they found out the CBD, the other oils, they're not even the shit that gets you high, but just the cannabinoids that are in there that, slow the growth of cancer and all this other stuff. They're like, fuck that.
Oh no, dude, we're gonna be out of a job, dude.
Growing your own cancer medication? What are you, crazy? So, it just sucks. It's like the greed, the corruption, all of that stuff. And I forget who said it, but whoever quoted, we used to laugh at comedians and listen to politicians, and now we laugh at politicians and listen to comedians.
Isn't that Carlin? I think it's Carlin, right? Or
might have been.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
but yeah, he always came out with a new
Bill
hour.
Hicks. I'm convinced the government gave Bill Hicks cancer. I'll just say, I'll put that out there on the internet. I think they
got exclusive. The one-on-one Justin Hoff interview. No man, I mean the thing is, there's a lot of things I don't put it past the government. I mean they've done plenty of things that have been questionable. Mm-hmm. Even right now, they finally stopped. Didn't they finally repeal privatized prisons? Like it took till now. Like you should never make. I don't care what color of a person you are. Mm-hmm. You should not make putting people in jail profit based. That doesn't help anyone. Like let's make money off of locking people up because it's going to make an incentive.
Then they get
all people in here
get kickbacks for sending people away. And
exactly. Like it's just this whole thing where it's like the country doesn't get better if people are sitting in a cage.
Yeah. You get to a certain point, though, where you have so much money that you and your family for the next couple of years are going to be okay. And everybody's so short-sighted they can't see past, you know what I mean? But, like, we live in a, like, rich people don't want to pay all of their taxes. And, like, why should we give up half of our money for these poor people who won't work? It's like you are living in a time, this is the only time where you don't have to worry about us, the people who don't have any money, like storming your castle with pitchforks and fire.
Exactly,
you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like you should give a little back because we're gonna fucking come and
that's what Oprah does it for.
Yeah,
exactly. She's just giving away cars because she likes it. She realizes like people will.
We're gonna come through the windows of your mansion. Yeah.
Because now they can't do it. You can pay for security, but back in the day, it's like, oh, we're gonna kill the king.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like you got too much money. It's like, but you need to give back just to make shit balanced. You can't have 10 or 15 people having all the money and everyone else starving.
And that's the thing. I don't think people understand the inequality or the distribution of wealth. You know what I mean? Because it's not just the way people make money. It's the inheritance too. It's the fact that like the people, the heirs of the Walmart fortune were billionaires, not because they worked hard or anything. You know what I mean? Like maybe their parents did, but they inherited this, and their billions make billions. So it's this continued wealth kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Well, I was thinking the other day, this is why this keeps going. Think about somebody who has like $20 billion. What is the one thing that person can't get? It's more money. So all you do is chase money. Because think about it, it's like, I can get a new car, I can get a new house, I can get a pool, I can buy all these people to do whatever, but the only thing they can't get with that money is more money. So pretty much the only thing you live to do is chase an extra dollar. There's really, because you can go and purchase whatever you want to buy.
Yeah.
But the only thing you can get better at is getting more money.
And I think if you get to a certain level where it's like, Bill Gates would look at Steve Jobs and be like, motherfucker just bought an island. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Keep up with the Joneses. Like, oh, this motherfucker.
Larry Ellison bought a island that was inhabited. He bought there was already people.
Yeah, he was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. He's like, he came in and he was like, I'm gonna like put in, I don't know.
Did he pay the people to get off it or
guys or whatever? No, they're still on there.
Yeah.
He just basically showed up one day and was just like, listen, I just bought out the government and was like, I bought this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know the details, but I know that the founder, CEO of Oracle bought an island that already had people on it.
Yeah. Look, it's just mine.
Yeah.
This is private property. Oh, you didn't see the signs, guys? But that's what it is.
Oracle logos on everything.
Trademark on the bottom. But yeah, that's what I think is when you're wealthy, especially when you're old too. It's like you really have like name one thing that you can't get, and it's just more money. And the thing is,
time's the big thing too. Is I think trading, like a lot of people trade, when they're young, they trade time for money. But I guess that's the whole thing I'm trying to do with this business I'm starting up is like I don't want to be wealthy so that I can get things. I tried to do that once already, and it didn't work. I bought a bunch of stuff. It didn't make me happy. But I think if I can make enough money if I can be independently wealthy and I can do what I love, which is travel the country and do stand up and meet people and stuff like that, then, hopefully I'll get to a place where I can give back. And then if I do become a millionaire and I'm buying Lambos and stuff like that, you guys can listen to this recording and be like, man, that dude's a hypocrite. And I'll be like, I am, but I look fly as hell.
Yeah, it's like, car's fast as shit, though.
Like car's fast.
You broke motherfuckers.
I'll just throw ones out my window.
But we all know in this business, though, there's very few super wealthy comedians. But that's the thing is we spend so much time talking to people that, you kind of get how people's lives are different. And so you probably, it's hard to become that. I can't try to say you can't be that dickish, but yeah, you definitely can be that dickish and be a comedian at the same time. But
it's funny, though, because comedy, that's not what it started out as. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't to get rich or whatever. And then, like, Lenny Clark was perfectly happy making $80,000 a year just doing gigs in Boston, in the heyday when you could actually make that much money in Boston. Yeah. But now it's this thing where we see making it, like, when you're on TV, and people don't even care what they're saying anymore. That's why I feel like when people are stealing jokes, they're so desperate
to get
for
something.
For that recognition. They don't care if they're actually creating anything and stuff. So
I think that's one of the things they want to kind of have they've been working so hard and they just want something to show for it.
Yeah, but I know I'm never going to be a professional basketball player.
Oh yeah, that's why you don't shoot free throws anymore. That's why you just gave that up. But it's one of the things where people do it so long that they figure, maybe I should do something and just whatever it takes to kind of get some kind of money, so it doesn't look a complete waste of time. I mean,
you don't deserve anything just because you've been in the scene a long time either. I feel like that's a misconception. People are getting gigs, and it's like, how is that dude still? And they run this show, and they can trade time for this, and it's just. I mean, I feel like I want to believe that the vast majority of comedians care about the craft, and they want to contribute, and they want to write good stuff, and they want there to be a good scene. But there's definitely some poison in the well where it's, people don't care how they make it. They just want to make it.
Yeah.
Which.
I mean, there's always gonna be like that, but people, it's kind of like a big company. When you think about the comedy scenes, like there's always gonna be that asshole person who's doing this. Like it's like
sleeping on the job.
Yeah, sleeping on the job. There's always the drug addict. Coming in like, oh, what did I miss, guys? I'm late for the meeting.
Exactly.
There's always gonna be, there's always gonna be that kind of person in the group, and that's kind of what the scene or all scenes really are. I mean, everyone's at a different level. It's this big, if you want to call it the comedy company.
Right.
There's everybody at different levels, and they're all trying to work their way up. But it's not one of those things where, hey, if you do 3 or 4 years here, now you're an executive comedian. Like it doesn't, it doesn't work like that at all. It's one of those things.
You're not in a trade school where you can learn, like, you know what I mean, pass a test, and then all of a sudden, there's only one thing I love more than partying, and it's doing comedy. And I actually quit partying so that I could take.
I love how you came out with that. It's like, you know what I like better than partying, you guys? Making other people happy.
Starting the party for other people. I actually had to it's a weird dynamic because you're like other people too. Like especially if sometimes I would bring dates to shows and stuff like that, and I would have to tell them like this is work, and they're like, doesn't look like work. Like, you can come over tonight so you can go drink with your friends. I'm like, well, I'm networking, and like this is how you get shows, and you got to go to these mics and everything, stuff like that. But I don't like drink beer or anything on stage anymore, just because it just gets to a point where you talk to anyone who's doing comedy in the 80s, a lot of dudes that if anyone's still around, it's because they don't party as hard as they used to.
Well, you lose focus too, and it's one of those things where it's like if you're trying to perfect your craft, you got to do it sober and then get drunk after.
I mean, you get to take it seriously, and I know it seems like a big party, and we kind of like want to project that or whatever, but those times when you're driving home from a gig and you're like, that was work.
Yeah. You fucking had to get to that set like that was work. Then I had to talk to that booker and thing. There's people here, and it's like,
this is a job.
You got to shake
in that shitty ass hotel.
Got to shake hands with people you don't want to talk to and stuff like that. And people don't understand too. It's like a lot of times you're not feeling funny. You're really not feeling funny. You got to go out there and you got to dance for everybody. And
I probably shouldn't mention her name, so I'll just say that I was with someone who was on TV, had a TV show, stuff like that, like national touring comedian, and she got into a huge fight with her significant other, like the moment before she was supposed to go on stage, and literally we just like took a deep, like you could see, like visibly upset, and I was like, oh my god, what is she gonna do? Like we're gonna have to start late, and she just kind of
powered through
shook
it.
it off. And was like, and then went up there for 45 minutes, and I was like, oh my god, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? What happened? Like, you get a phone call, like, your dog died. Shit. All right, hold on, I gotta go tell dick jokes.
Yeah.
It's like,
I got to entertain these people for 45 minutes, and that's what people don't really
if
understand.
anyone thinks it's easy, try it. Just
Yeah.
go to an open mic, talk for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and people, well, even when you tell people who don't do it, you're just like, I'm just for 5 minutes. You're like, 5 minutes? Like, that's a long time. And it's like, not anymore. When you start
It
out
was,
5 minutes,
yeah.
and it was an eternity at first.
Well,
but
it can be a long time depending on how well you're doing.
if you're hearing crickets, then yes, it could be an
It's
eternity.
a long 5 minutes.
I saw a lady once. It was so bad. She actually apologized.
For her own comedy?
Her own comedy. Yeah, her
Oh,
own
yeah.
comedy. She said, "Guys, I'm sorry." I was just like, "Oh man!" Like, there's some things where it's funny when someone's like eating it real bad, but other times they're just
it's
like,
sad.
"Oh, like, that hurts me," you
Yeah.
know? Like that just hurts me. But yeah, as the one, she's like, "Guys, I'm sorry."
I love when people turn on the audience too.
Oh, they get mad
What's
at them
wrong
for
with you
not.
people? What's
Yeah.
wrong with us, bitch? You're not funny.
Yeah, you're not funny. It's like, what do you think? They were supposed to laugh the entire time? Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not what it is. No, I've had some people where they just yell at them, like, yo. I'm not going to say their name, but they've been like on. It was Mike before, they're like, yo, laugh. Like, yelling. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
They
He's
get a
like,
sign blinking.
yeah.
This is the time for you to laugh.
No, it's like, that's not how this works.
Was it one of
at
those
all.
people who were like TV people and then did comedy?
No. They
okay.
haven't seen the TV screen at all. No, that's that would be embarrassing though if you made it on TV. But
Well, there's
Yeah.
a couple of people where I saw on TV and I was like, oh, I'll go check them out. And then I saw their acts and I was like, oh. Like, there's one dude that, fuck it, I'll blow up his spot. I don't care because he doesn't know me.
oh shit,
Yeah.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Who's that? Who's the dude who does all the impressions on SNL?
Oh, Jay Farrell.
Yeah.
You didn't like him? Didn't like him at all.
Amazing impressions.
Yeah.
Stand up.
I saw him I saw him at the Wilbur though. He was decent. He wasn't the funniest person I ever saw, but he was decent.
What?
Yeah, you saw him at the Wilbur, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw, what, 2 years ago or last year?
I was performing at Nick's downstairs, so I ran up to catch some of his set, and it was people were talking amongst themselves.
Really?
Dude, yeah. Maybe because he just like rolled in so deep with like such a big entourage and stuff like that.
Or maybe it was it Late Show where he was phoning it in, or was it the later one?
I don't
or-
know. Something about this dude rubbed me the wrong way, and then
Yeah,
I remember going up and watching him and being like, he did an impression. I was like, holy shit, like killed it.
yeah.
Impression was amazing, but it was almost like, have you ever seen like his eyes go back? It's almost like there's so many people in there, there's nobody in there.
Yeah. There's so much going on, and there's
Yeah.
nothing going on at all.
So then when he was trying to like be himself or whatever, and like he hit a punchline, and just people were like talking amongst themselves, and I was like, oh shit. But
It's a mix of both, where you never know. That could be the Late Show, or it could be it's like, I'm getting my money. I could be phoning it in. You never.
I mean, he's obviously doing well. Who am I to shit on another comedian? I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, it's hard for me to see people who were just like I know he did stand up first, but it's hard when you see someone who's so famous and the expectation is so high,
Oh, definitely.
and then they come in. What's that dude's? I don't know anyone's name, but
I hate everybody, but I don't know.
yeah,
what
but
the
I
fuck
don't.
to call them.
I'm not even gonna learn your name. Who is the dude who's married to Mariah Carey?
Oh, Nick Cannon. Yeah, he was never funny. Nick Cannon was never funny.
Yeah,
funny.
but he did a stand-up special that was on. It wasn't HBO.
Netflix?
I think it was Showtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Netflix, but I think it was Showtime
was bad?
that produced it. Dude, this motherfucker had the white leather gloves on like Eddie Murphy.
Mm.
Like, go. It's
so bad. Are
It's
people
so
even
bad.
like laughing or?
Well, like they panned the audience at one point, and this old white couple is asleep, and you're like, that they pulled them in from the street, that they didn't come out to see this dude's.
Was
stand-up
it an hour or
special
30
whatever.
minutes?
No, it was an hour.
Oof.
It was an hour. His closer was pretty funny, but it didn't even seem like his style.
Yeah.
So it was weird.
Someone might have wrote it or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just bad. It's
Well,
just
Nick
really
Cannon's
bad.
kind of like he's a kind of a walking punchline nowadays. But I mean,
Is
yeah, pretty much. I mean, he just hosts stuff. He does like that whatever show with what's his name, Howie Mandel, and
Like if you're, oh right, yeah. If
he's
if
a host now.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're good at that, do that. If you're good at producing, like if you're good at picking talent, then be a manager. It just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, just people coming in and just
Yeah.
gunking up the works, the stand-up work.
But the thing about sometimes when people are at that level, they're not gonna be what they were, and they just have to work. So it could be one of those things where it's like, dude, I just have to. Like Uncle Sam is like, I got to do something, and some people get
Yeah.
caught in that, and they really don't figure out what they really
they're
like.
good at.
They only figure
He's
what
a
they
good producer though. He's produced shows. He's
Yeah.
he's been in movies and stuff. He can do the business part. I just think it's like I want the glory, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna give away free tickets and fill up this theater.
Mhm.
I can't say I wouldn't do the same thing, but
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that was not a good special.
No. Well, What's It Called wasn't a good special, and I felt so bad. Did you ever see Chris Tucker's special?
I saw parts of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get through it, right? It was tough.
He's a riot though.
But not.
He's a funny dude.
He was. He
Yeah.
was in the Friday what's it called Def Comedy Jam days. Chris Tucker was.
But
funny.
I'm just saying, even as a comedic actor.
Oh yeah, he was funny. But
Yeah.
it's like, if you see his hour, it was on Showtime. It was brutal. Like, I think I gave it maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes. And I was just like, I felt bad because like he really was funny. You really were rooting for him, and it was just really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I just felt personally like one of your heroes. Like, it's like a fallen hero right there.
But then again, like Louis C.K. Produced, directed, helped write Booty Tank.
Booty Tank, yeah. Yeah, but it's like, there's a movie, and then there's you. That's what separates movies from stand-up, where it's like, there's plenty of actors who do shitty movies who's like, yeah, it's a check, whatever. I got paid. I don't care how well it
It's not my fault. I
performs.
didn't write the script.
Yeah, whereas like stand-up, it's like,
That was you.
it's just you on stage. Like, you
did
thought of
that.
that shit. You did that to
To
yourself.
all these people.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And that's where it's like, it's way, way more personal. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he needed to do work. It's the same thing with him. Like, he's been in maybe 7 or 8 movies. He really didn't do a lot of movies. He got like big off the Rush Hour movies. But he's not in
Fifth
a lot
Element.
of things. Fifth Element, Dead Presidents.
The gay host.
Yeah, which is so fucking
Which
hot.
he killed. Which he nailed that role.
But he did that. He did like Dead Presidents. He did Friday, and he did like the what's it called recently? What's the one where
Was
Bradley?
Halle Berry in Dead Prez? Was Halle Berry in that? Dead
No. Dead Presidents is Lorenz Tate, I think is that's old school. It's like I want to say it's like 94. That's when they robbed they call them bank robbers.
Yeah, they put the white paint on.
Yeah. But he did that in like a few other things like Money
I'm
Talks.
more partial to Set It Off with Queen Latifah.
No, it's like I'm very progressive. I like the women robbing banks. That was a good movie too.
It's more
I
like
can't
real
remember.
life.
That was a good movie though. That's the story of my mother, actually. They based it off of her.
Really?
No. I think like, he's black,
Man,
so yeah, he's black, so yeah, that probably is true.
That makes sense. Man, you're from Connecticut.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's just, you gotta work, though. That's what it is. Like, some people are forced to do. He's actually, your boy Jay Farrow's, he's a free agent now. You know, they let him go from SNL.
Jay Farrow?
Yeah, they let him
They
go.
let a couple people go, didn't they?
They let him and I think the other Weekend guy or something like that. But yeah, they let
The
him go.
franchise is suffering because, like you said, the content is so easily available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can go to improv shows anywhere now.
Exactly. But I don't know what that SNL's going to do for the campaign, because that's when they're the biggest.
And they used to say shit, too. They used to, you know what I mean? Like, you look at some of these, like, when, like, Chevy was on and stuff like that, like, they would do social commentary. Now you can't, though, because you get too many letters.
Well, no, now, like, they usually kind of, that show usually blows up during, like, a election, and so this fall is probably the best time, so maybe they didn't like him anymore, and they're going to replace him with somebody else, but, I mean, I don't know. That show's more of an institution than anything. It's not, like, it's not funny, but, what's a good movie you should actually see? I saw it last week with a few comedians. Don't Think Twice, Mike Birbiglia's new movie that just came out. It got, like, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And pretty much what it is, I don't want to spoil it, but what it is it's a improv troupe in New York City, and one of them tries out for Saturday Night Live, or they call it Weekend Live or whatever, and one of them makes it, and pretty much the whole troupe just kind of turns on each other. And so it's just very
over that person's success.
Well, one person, it's like a domino effect. Like one of the guys dates someone within the troupe, so then they have their issues, and then they have issues of he's doing this, he doesn't have time for the troupe anymore, and so it's very true to life where people kind of just start as one thing, and then success kind of changes.
Crabs in a bucket.
Yeah, and so it's very realistic.
Did you see his other movie, the Sleepwalking movie?
I didn't actually see it though.
That's good.
Yeah, he makes real.
Completely unrealistic though. He was like, maybe I'll try stand-up comedy, and then he like buys a car, hits the road, and then is opening up for like Mark Maron and stuff.
Really?
Like, yeah. Like it's very like it condenses 10 years of comedy into like this one movie. Yeah. But it is kind of cool or whatever. It just shows the more he talks about his own personal shit, the more people like it. Like when he was trying to be funny, he wasn't. But then when he started talking about stuff people could relate to.
It's like a real personal kind of movie.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of him playing like a fake.
And he really does like. I think it's true that he was sleepwalking and stuff like that.
And in real life,
to a point where he has to take precautions when he's on the road. He has to like sleep in a sleeping bag so he doesn't open the door and let himself out. Shit like that. Such
is life, man. But yeah, before we hop up out of here, we're just gonna find. So where can we follow you online? And I guess what are you kind of gonna be up to in these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, man, it's Justin Hoff on Facebook. You can also follow Green Room on Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. JAHOFF on Instagram and Twitter.
Nice,
and
nice.
I'm actually signing tomorrow. So the app got funded, and we're signing paperwork tomorrow with one of the investors. I get the hostile takeover at the House of Blues.
I'll be there, actually. Yeah, I'm on
yeah,
that.
you are on that show. Yeah, the
Yeah,
22nd. That's a Thursday.
I do things besides this, guys.
And then the following Saturday, the 24th, I'm actually featuring for Rachel Feinstein in Windsor, Connecticut, where you're from, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yeah, look it up. I'll post it online unless the app blows up, and then it will be.
No, you'll
on
never
that
speak to me
schedule.
again. No, you'll be way too famous.
I can't wait to blow up and act like I don't know nobody.
It's like, actually, when I make this kind of money, people whose credit scores are lower than 750, they don't show up on my phone anymore.
Mine's junk. I've already had a couple failed businesses. So
Yeah.
My credit is. I shouldn't say that because if the investors are listening to this, my business
They definitely are.
acumen is no. They wouldn't listen to this.
As we all are. Hey, guys, appreciate you, Justin, for coming through.
Thanks
guys.
for having me, man.
Oh, yeah. This has been the Friends with Words podcast. It's been Jay Smitty signing off. Peace and love, guys.